Hi guys, today we're going to talk about the vertex form of quadratics. So what is the quadratics vertex form? The quadratics for vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, where a, h, and k are real numbers, and h and k represent the coordinates of the vertex, where h is the x coordinate of the vertex and k is the y coordinate of the vertex. So let's take a look at this example. We have y equals x minus 1 squared plus 2. This quadratic has a vertex of 1, which is the opposite number of what's inside with the x, and 2, which is the number outside of the x. So the vertex in this form, or in this case, is 1, 2. In the second example, we have y equals negative x plus 2 squared plus 5, which has a vertex equal to negative 2, which is the opposite of the number inside with the x. And the y coordinate is 5, which is the number outside of the x. And this is called the vertex form. And we can use completing the square to change the standard form of the quadratic into the vertex form. This is a technique that we will use today to change the standard form that we are familiar with by now, which is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, to the vertex form, which is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k, where h and k are the coordinates of the vertex. Now let's complete the square to change the standard form of y equal x squared minus 2x plus 3 to the vertex form. So I have a trinomial here that I'm trying to change into a perfect square. And to get a perfect square, I need to take the middle number of the trinomial, which is negative 2, divide that by 2, which makes me have negative 1, and square that number now. And the answer is 1. Now, 1 is supposed to be the number that can help me get a perfect square if I added to the second term of the trinomial. So if I add 1 to the second term and then take it away at the same time, I'll be able to have a perfect square. Now I'm adding 1 and taking away 1 at the same time to save the value of the equation, or to keep the value of the equation. 1 minus 1 is 0. Adding a 0 to any side of the equation, it's the same as adding nothing, which means that I'm keeping the value of the equation the same. Now I have a trinomial that can be factored into x minus 1 times x minus 1. And then I have two like terms, negative 1 and 3, that I can combine together, and I'm going to get 2. Now I have x minus 1 times itself, which I can write as x minus 1 squared, which is a perfect square, plus 2. Now, this is the vertex form of the equation. The vertex is the opposite number of what's inside the parentheses with the x, which is 1, and the number outside of the parentheses, which is 2. And this is how we change the standard form into the vertex form by completing the square. So to confirm that what I got is correct, I'm going to use the calculator to find out what the vertex is for that quadratic, and if I completed the square correctly to get the vertex form. So I'm going to put x squared minus 2x plus 3 in the calculator, and I'm going to check the vertex of the graph. So looking at the graph, I can see that the vertex is 1, 3, 1, 2. And if I look at the table and look for the rainbow values where the vertex is in the middle, I can see that the middle value of the rainbow values is 1, 2, which confirms the vertex value that I got when I completed the square and confirms that my vertex form is correct. Now let's complete the square to change the standard form of y equals negative x squared minus 4x plus 1 this time to the vertex form. Now, as you can see, we don't have a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 1. We have a trinomial with a leading coefficient of negative 1. And to be able to complete the square, I need to have a trinomial with a leading coefficient of 1. For that reason, I'm going to take negative 1 as a common factor between the first term and the second term, which makes me have negative 1 times x squared plus 4x, just the first and second term. And then I'm going to leave a space to complete the square and add 1 at the end. Now, to get the middle number, to get the number that can help me complete the square, I need to divide the middle number of the trinomial, which is in this case 4, by 2, and then square that. 2 squared is 4. So I'm going to add a 4 and take away 4 at the same time to keep the value of the equation the same. 4 minus 4 is 0. Now I have a trinomial that I can factor into x plus 2 times x plus 2, and I have a negative 4 inside, and then plus 1. Now, x plus 2 can be written as x plus 2 squared. And negative 4 inside can be combined with 1 if taken out of the parentheses by distributing the negative 4 in it. So negative 4 times negative 1 is going to be 4. And then I have plus 1. Now that negative 4 is out of the parentheses and multiplied by the common factor, we can combine 4 and 1 together. So I'm going to end up with y equals negative 1 x plus 2 squared plus 5. And this is the vertex form of the quadratic, and the vertex is the opposite number of what's inside the parentheses with x, which is negative 2, and the number outside of the parentheses added, which is 5. If we completed the square correctly, I'm going to use the calculator to find out the vertex of the quadratic that we just completed. I'm going to put negative x squared minus 4x plus 1 and y equals, and I'm going to look at the graph. In the graph, I can see that the vertex is 2, 5. And to confirm, I'm going to look at the table. And in the table, I'm going to have to look at that rainbow values. And looking at the rainbow values, I can see that the middle value is negative 2, 5 right here. So that means that I have the right value for the vertex and I completed the square correctly.